All right, so get ready because we're diving headfirst back into the world of Harry Potter. We're tackling Harry Potter and the Cursed Child today, and let me tell you, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, seeing these characters 19 years after the Battle of Hogwarts, it really is something. Like we're peeking into their future.
Totally. And it's not just like catching up with old friends either. It's like meeting them for the first time all over again. Grown up and, well, with all the baggage that comes with adulthood, some of them are hardly recognizable.
Right. That's what makes this story so interesting, I think. It makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about these characters and their lives. After all that's happened, who would they become?
Totally. And speaking of assumptions, let's talk about Albus Potter. Not exactly following in Dad's footsteps, is he?
Oh, not at all. I mean, getting sorted into Slytherin, talk about a shock. It really drives a wedge between him and Harry. It's like their whole father-son thing is flipped.
Yeah.
Kind of like Harry and Snape, but with the roles reversed.
Huh. I never thought about it that way. That's a great point. So it's not even just that Albus is different. It's like he's stuck under the weight of all of Harry's fame. Those expectations must feel suffocating, just like they did for Harry.
Exactly. And all that pressure leads Albus to, well, desperate measures. Remember when he steals James's invisibility cloak?
Mm-hmm.
That's not just about hiding from bullies. It's like a big screw you to his dad's whole hero image.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like he's trying so hard to figure out who he is, even if it means hanging out in the shadows a bit.
Exactly. And that's where Scorpius Malfoy comes in. Their friendship really shakes things up.
Okay, so tell me about these two. It seems kind of crazy, right? The son of Harry Potter hanging out with Draco Malfoy's kid.
It's one of the best things about this whole play, I think. They totally break down that whole good versus evil thing that was so big in the original series. Their friendship is proof that it's not that simple. They connect in a real way because they understand each other's struggles.
So it's like their friendship is saying, hey, maybe the world isn't so black and white after all.
Exactly. And it makes you, the audience, think about that too. Are we judging people too quickly? Maybe people we think are different are actually a lot like us.
I love that. It's such an important message, especially these days. Okay, we can't talk about Cursed Child without talking about the Time Turner. It wouldn't be Harry Potter without some time travel shenanigans, right?
True. But this time, it's serious stuff. This time turner isn't just a fun plot device. It forces you to think about what happens when you mess with the past and how fragile the present really is.
Okay, walk me through it. What do Albus and Scorpius do with this Time Turner thing, and what happens?
Well, they want to fix what they think is a terrible mistake. They want to save Cedric Diggory, from the Triwizard Tournament. Their hearts are in the right place, but oh boy, do things go wrong.
Ooh, this is where it gets juicy. Okay, what happens? Do they manage to save Cedric?
Well, when they mess with the past, it doesn't just change one thing. It creates all these different realities, and each one is more messed up than the last. In one of them, Voldemort actually wins. Harry's dead, and they even celebrate Voldemort Day every year. It's a really dark, awful world. Scorpius actually experiences it firsthand. It freaks him out, to say the least.
Hold on, Voldemort Day. What is that exactly? Like, what does that reality even look like?
Imagine everything is ruled by fear. The Ministry of Magic is controlled by Voldemort. Hogwarts is basically training Death Eaters, and anyone who disagrees with Voldemort just disappears. Voldemort Day is this awful celebration of Voldemort's power, a reminder that he's in charge.
That's creepy. Okay, so they really mess things up.
Yeah, no kidding. Messing with time is serious business. But here's the thing. There's someone else involved, someone pulling strings behind the scenes. Remember Delphi? Amos Diggory's niece?
Yeah, I think so. She always seemed a little, I don't know, off. What's her deal?
Let's just say she's not who she seems. Her real identity is, well, it's a huge twist. Changes the whole game.
I am officially hooked. Tell me, who is she really?
Delphi is Voldemort's daughter.
Wait, Voldemort had a kid. How is that even possible?
Well, it's a long story, but it turns out Voldemort's past is even more complicated than we thought. And Delphi, she's been playing Albus and Scorpius this whole time, using their whole save Cedric thing to get what she wants. And what she wants is to bring back dear old dad. And, rule the world.
Whoa, okay, this is mind-blowing. So she's the mastermind behind all this.
Yep. And she's not afraid to use dark magic to do it.
Yeah.
Even her tattoo and augury, the bird that means bad news, it's like a warning sign. Like, hey, this girl is trouble.
This is nuts. You weren't kidding when you said this play was a roller coaster. It's like the whole Harry Potter world got flipped on its head.
That's what Cursed Child does, though. Makes you think about good and evil in a totally new way. It's not so simple anymore. Nothing is as it seems.
Okay, I need a minute to process all this. This is amazing. All right, so we're back and ready to keep going with Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We've got Voldemort's daughter on the loose, all these alternate realities popping up, and a whole lot of questions about love and redemption and, oh yeah, the power of choice. So, where do we even start?
I think it's really important to remember that at its heart, this play is about love. Like, even with all the time travel craziness and the dark stuff, Cursed Child really boils down to the idea that love can conquer anything. And I don't just mean romantic love either. It's about the love between friends, love between parents and kids. That kind of deep love that connects us and makes us stronger.
Yeah, definitely. That idea of love being the most powerful magic, even more powerful than spells and potions, it's all over this play.
Absolutely. And we see it in so many different ways, like Harry's love for Albus. At first, he's all messed up by his own past,
Yeah.
losing his parents and all that. He's scared of making the same mistakes they did. And he has a hard time connecting with Albus, who's so different from him. But as the story goes on, that love for Albus pushes Harry to face his fears and fight for his son.
Yeah, that scene where Harry visits his parents' graves in Godric's Hollow, that was rough. It's like he finally confronts all that pain from losing them and
Mhm.
realizes that love is what makes him who he is, even if it comes with loss.
Right. It's a turning point for Harry. He realizes that love isn't weak, it's actually his superpower. And when he realizes that, he finally connects with Albus for real.
It's cool to see how love changes other characters too. Like Draco Malfoy, we see the softer side of him, especially when he talks about Astoria, his wife who's passed away.
Yeah.
You can tell he loved her a lot, and it changed him in ways we never saw back at Hogwarts.
Totally. Draco's journey in Cursed Child is all about letting go of the prejudices he had when he was younger. He's not that snotty bully anymore. He's a father who's gone through loss and learned about compassion.
And speaking of changes, what about Ron and Hermione? Their relationship in those alternate realities was kind of a mess, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Their story really shows you what can happen when you mess with the past. How even the strongest relationships can be destroyed by just one tiny change. In one reality, Ron and Hermione never fall in love, and they're both completely miserable. It makes you think, what if we made different choices? How would our lives be different? And how would those choices affect everyone around us?
Yeah, it's like we're walking a tightrope between the past, present, and future, and it feels like any little thing can knock us off balance.
Exactly. And Cursed Child really digs into that whole idea of choice and consequence. Albus and Scorpius learn the hard way that you can't just go back and fix things without creating a whole new set of problems.
Yeah, but it's not all doom and gloom, right? It's also about redemption. We see characters like Draco and even Scorpius, who kind of starts out as a troublemaker, make good choices that show how much they've grown.
You got it. Scorpius really becomes a hero in this story. He's loyal, brave, and his friendship with Albus is one of the most heartwarming parts of the play. It's proof that even the sons of enemies can find common ground and help each other through tough times.
And what about Delphi? Even though she's the villain, she's actually pretty complex and interesting. You can see her human side. Like, she just wants to belong, to be loved. It's clear she loves her father, even though she never met him. It's kind of sad, actually.
Totally. Her story is tragic. She was raised in darkness, so it's no wonder she turned out the way she did. But even when she's at her worst, you can see glimmers of good in her. It makes you wonder, what if she'd had a loving family? What if she'd had a chance at a normal life?
Okay, before we go too deep there, let's talk about the big showdown with Delphi. That was intense. It's like the ultimate battle, full of twists and surprises and some seriously awesome magic.
Oh, it's a nail-biter. Delphi is so powerful, so determined to bring back Voldemort. And she's got some crazy magic skills. Like, she can even fly without a broomstick. It's scary, but kind of awesome at the same time.
And she will stop at nothing to get what she wants. The fate of the world is literally hanging in the balance as Albus, Scorpius, and everyone else try to stop her from bringing Voldemort back.
And get this, Cedric Diggory gets caught in the middle of it all. During their time-traveling adventures, they accidentally humiliate him, and that little change has huge consequences. In another timeline, Cedric becomes a Death Eater because of it. Talk about unintended consequences, right?
Wow, it really shows you that every little action can have a ripple effect. You never know what might happen.
Right. Albus and Scorpius learned that the hard way. But they also learned about courage, determination, and how powerful friendship can be. They face Delphi head-on even though they know the world could end.
And they have backup. Harry, Ron, Hermione, even Draco, they're all in it together. It just shows you how strong their bond is, even after all these years.
That final battle is amazing. So much strategy and sacrifice. They do manage to outsmart Delphi, but it's risky. There's even this really touching moment where Albus tells Cedric that his father loves him, right before sending him back to his death in the Triwizard Tournament.
Ugh, that part always makes me cry. It reminds you that sometimes the hardest thing is to let go. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it and move on.
Exactly. And that's the big takeaway from Cursed Child. It's about moving forward, even when the past is holding you back. It's about learning from mistakes, accepting change, and finding the courage to create your own path, even if it's different from what everyone expects.
I think that resonates with everyone, especially those of us who grew up with Harry Potter and are now figuring out adulting. It's like we're not kids anymore living in this magical world, but the things we learn from those stories, they still matter.
And Cursed Child reminds us that even when things are really dark, there's always hope. People can change, love can heal old wounds, and we can find the strength to face our fears and fight for what's right.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot. We talked about the plot twists, the characters, and all the big ideas that make Cursed Child such a powerful story.
But there's one thing we haven't talked about yet, the ending. And it really leaves you with a lot to think about. So are you ready for the final chapter of this magical adventure?
You know, it's kind of crazy how Cursed Child wraps everything up, but still leaves you wondering what happens next. What about the ending really stuck with you?
It's those quiet moments, when everyone's just trying to figure out what just happened. Like after all that chaos and almost destroying the world, they have to deal with, well, the emotional stuff. It's like, yeah, they saved the day, but it's not happily ever after. They're all changed by what they went through.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they just hit a reset button. There are scars, not just physical ones either. It feels real.
And that's where the whole idea accepting things comes in. Albus and Scorpius go back to their own time, but they're stuck with the memory of what happened. They can't erase the past, but they can choose how to deal with it.
And Harry finally figures that out, too, I think. He stops trying to make Albus into some perfect version of himself. He accepts him for who he is. It's a powerful message about being a parent, loving your kids even when they're not what you expected.
It's like Harry's own story, right? He spent his whole life fighting against everyone's expectations, the whole boy who lived thing. Now he's letting go of that for himself and for his son. It's like this, I don't know, cycle of growing up and understanding,
Yeah.
passing it down to the next generation.
Yeah, there's this feeling of peace, like things are coming full circle. But it's also kind of bittersweet. The past is always there, some things you just can't forget.
I know what you mean. And that's what makes the ending so powerful, I think. It
Mm.
gives you hope, but it's realistic too. It recognizes that bad things happen, but you can still find a way to move on.
What about the bigger picture, though? What does Cursed Child tell us about stories and how they connect us to people, even across generations?
Well, I think it shows that these characters, this world, still have something to say. Even after all these years, we're still interested in their lives. It's proof that J.K. Rowling created something really special, something that sparks our imagination and makes us think about our own lives.
And it's not just nostalgia either, right? Cursed Child deals with some deep stuff that everyone can relate to. Finding your place in the world, dealing with expectations, love, forgiveness. It's stuff we all think about, even if we didn't grow up reading Harry Potter.
Exactly. It reminds you that we're all connected, our choices matter, they affect other people, and even when things are really bad, there's always hope. That's a message everyone needs to hear.
It's like Cursed Child gives you a new way to look at the whole Harry Potter series. You see the characters differently, understand them better. It makes the whole experience even richer.
And it makes you want to keep talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Discussing the big questions, arguing about the characters, wondering what happens to them next. That's what makes a good story great. It never really ends.
This has been awesome. Thanks for geeking out about Harry Potter with me.
Anytime. It's always fun to dive back into that world, and Cursed Child really adds a whole new layer to it all. Makes you think.
All right, so for everyone listening, what are your thoughts on Cursed Child? What stuck with you? This is one of those stories that you just keep thinking about long after it's over. Till next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep the magic alive.